we are in investigation 3.3, and what we are learning is we have a table. So our 5 college students, they have their bike company picked, they have an idea as to how much they're going to charge, and so now they want to basically do a table to include everything and try to figure out whether or not they're going to make money or not. So the first thing that I want to do with this table is first just kind of understand everything. So number of customers is pretty obvious. Revenue. Okay. Revenue is basically the amount of money you earn. Okay? Bike rental, that's just the cost that they're getting charged for the bike for each one. Food and camp costs, and that is for, again, if you remember, they're not going to be like staying at hotels all the time. They may be outside, so it's going to vary. So all food and camp costs basically covers like hotels, camping things, and all the food that they may need for that particular trip. If they decide to stay at a hotel, obviously the customer is going to be responsible for their own food, but they'd have to let them know that ahead of time. All right, expenses. Expenses is, for lack of a better word, money spent on other things. So expenses is basically anything that you spend money on, okay? And we'll get into how that basically rolls into all this. Profit. Profit is when you take revenue and subtract your expenses. If you have a positive number, then you've made money or you made a profit. If your expenses is larger than your revenue, you'll basically wind up with like a negative number, and so therefore you would have a loss. All right, so that takes care of the vocabulary. So in our investigation, what they ask us to do is to extend the table that's in the book, which is already extended up there, and fill in the table for customers 1 through 6. All right. So first we'll start with revenue. And what we have to basically do is try to find what the pattern is. So let me get my calculator. And I'm going to do 700 minus 350, which equals 350. So that's 350. And I have to do at least 2 or more. So since I only have 3 numbers, I can only do this twice. 1050, 1050 minus 700. Oh, 700 equals 350. So what that basically means is that my table is increasing by 350 every single time. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the 1050 and I'm going to add 350. So my next one should be 1400 plus 350, 1750 plus 350, 2100. All right, so that takes care of revenue. For bike rental fee, to go from 30 to 60 is 30, 60 to 90 is 30, so that's just increasing by 30. All right, so one way you could look at it is multiples of 3. So 3, 6, 9, 12, and then we just add the 0. And that's in money. Oh, these are all in money. Okay, so 12, and then 15, and then 18. Let's add the 0 on. All right, so that completes bike rental costs. So the next one is food and camp costs. If you kind of understand how this is going, then chances are you probably already completed everything, but you're just waiting to figure out how I do total expenses and then my profit. All right, for food and camp costs, that's an increase of $125. And I just want to make sure. So 375 minus 250 equals 125. All right, so it's increasing by 125. I should have left the calculator up. Okay, so 375 plus 125 equals 500. Plus 125 equals 625. Plus 125. 750. Okay. So we got the bulk of our table filled in, okay, just by looking for a pattern. Now, for total expenses, remember, total expenses is basically anything that you spend money on. So revenue is money that I'm bringing in. So the only expenses are my bike rental and my food and camp costs. So expense and an expense, because that's what I'm spending money on. So what we need to do is add the bike rental fee and the food and camp cost. So 125 plus 30 equals 155. And then for the next one, we're adding, so that took care of that and that. We're doing 60 and 250. So 60 plus 250 equals 310. And we're just going to continue down the table. So that took care of that. All right, 90 plus 375 is 465. You want to know what's so great about this? I could be like picking my nose or anything, and you guys would not even know. That's the beauty of all this. You would never even know. All right, 120 plus 500 equals 620. And then you guys would just come in the next day, pick up the pen, start writing with it. Clueless. Totally clueless. All right, 150 plus 625, 775. And last, 180 plus 750 equals 930. Oh, that was bad. Okay. So my expenses are done. All right, now profit. If you remember, to figure out profit, still write down it. That's why I left it there. It's revenue minus expenses. So it's revenue minus my expenses. And then I have to figure out if I have a profit or not. So the first customer.
If you're in the building, can you just call up to the office, please, under the emergency?
My revenue is 350. Yeah, that actually recorded. I'm not going to redo this. I'm almost done. My revenue is 350. and I am subtracting 155. And that gives me 195. Oops. All right. The next one is 700 minus 310. That's 390. Ah. My next one, 1,050 minus 465. That equals 585. Okay, 1,400 minus 620 equals 780. And 1,750 minus 775 equals 975. So you can see the more people that I get, the more money that I am making. 2,100 minus 930, 1,170. Okay. So there goes my completed table. So we are done in investigation 3.3 with part A, where we extended the table for up to 6 customers and filled everything in. All right, and we're going to continue to work with this in the next section. So in the next section, we're going to talk about writing a rule for each of these different scenarios, each of these different parts of the table. Okay.